Welcome to DIYeaycrafts.com. Today we're going to take a look at how to make a rubber mold using a product called Alumilite liquid rubber. Now this project started when I had a couple of different knife handles hand carved in Indonesia. An octopus and also an eagle handle. Both of these were used on custom handmade knives that I had been working on. But I was so impressed with these carvings that I wanted to make a mold of the eagle scales or eagle handles so that I could replicate them either with casting resin or fiberglass. So I looked online, and on Amazon I found a product called Alumilite liquid rubber mold making product. It's called Alumilite High Strength 3. And it's liquid mold making rubber. And it's a very, very simple product to use. You can mix it by weight, but it's a little bit easier to do by volume. Basically, it says 1/4 ounce to 2 ounces of the base. So basically, if you multiply it out by 4, it's 1 part hardener to 8 parts of the actual, rubber. So it came with a little measuring cup. I'm just going to measure out 8 units or 8 little cups. And you try to be as accurate as you can. It really does make a difference. And once I have 8 cups of the Alumilite in there, I'm going to add 1 cup of the hardener. And that will be my 8-to-1 ratio mixture. And then you have to mix this thoroughly. They recommend mixing it for at least 5 minutes. In the meantime, I found a container that I'm going to make this mold in, and it's actually a Chinese food container, but it did fit both halves or both pieces of that knife handle carving. And these handles are flat on one side, so I basically attached them to the bottom of that Chinese food container with a little silicone. You could make your own container out of wood, or you could find, some other type of plastic container for whatever you want to mold. The spray that I'm putting on is a mold release agent, and it just allows the mold to break free from the objects as well as the container. So after the Alumilite mold rubber is completely mixed, I'm going to pour it right into the mold. They recommend that you pour it into one corner and let it flow over the objects being molded. And what they're trying to do here is eliminate any captive air pockets. So once the mold making rubber is poured, you basically have to walk away from it for at least 24 hours and let that set. After 24 hours, it's just a matter of getting it out of the container. In this case, it actually came out pretty easy. I flexed all the sides as well as the bottom a little bit just with my fingers. And then just started to peel that mold right out of the container. Now, getting the actual objects out of the mold was also surprisingly easy. Again, I just went around the whole profile flexing that mold material a little bit. And then the two knife handles really just popped out very, very easily. Now, what I was impressed by with this Alumilite mold material is the detail that the mold captured. I mean, these carvings are pretty detailed. There's details in the feather of the eagle, in the beak, in the eye of the eagle, etc. And all of those details were captured perfectly in this mold. Now, this mold can be used for a variety of different products. This is a two-part casting resin, so you could mold it with epoxy casting resin. You could mold it with fiberglass resin. You know, almost anything that you could think of. And I'm going to experiment with a couple of different materials, and hopefully come up with something that will be, you know, suitable for additional knife handles. This was just a test. I had this epoxy casting resin around from another do-it-yourself project. I mixed it up real quick. I did add a little bit of black dye to it. I did spray the mold with that same mold releasing agent, and then I poured the epoxy right into each mold. The nice part about that Chinese food container is that there's actually a lip around the whole outside perimeter of the mold, so that if I do overflow this mold a little bit, it's actually going to get caught right on that top surface and not overflow onto the desk. Once that's dry, and that took probably about six hours before I came back and removed it. That casting resin actually popped out of the mold very, very easily. And look at the amount of detail that was captured. Absolutely a perfect duplicate of the original carving. Of course, it's a different color. But I can play with the colors, I can play with the materials that I used to pour. Overall, I was very, very satisfied with this Alumilite rubber molding product. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short little video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. By all means, check us out on the web at DIYeaycrafts.com. Thank you very much.